I like what you said. Um, like saying I'm fine when you're not is a big thing that I feel like a lot of people face in their relationships, because it's not just you who felt like you were doing that. I feel like I was doing that too, and it's a very common thing I feel like in couples, because you don't want to be viewed a certain way or seem insecure, or um, almost you don't want to feel that, like you don't want to process whatever you're feeling, and then you're avoiding it by not letting the other person know how you're feeling. So that's definitely a number one thing that personally I still struggle with sometimes. Right away, I won't say it because I don't even know what it is. But then after time goes, like, I've definitely gotten better, and you've gotten so much better. I'm learning from you to be able to be like, hey, this is what's coming up and this is where it's coming from, and it's nothing to do with you. It's my feelings and my experience that I'm reacting to. So yeah, this is I guess a thing that helped me is better not say anything, or say that something's bothering you, but you want to come back to it later and explain what it is. Because when you just say I'm fine and you're actually feeling something, it builds up and then it's boiling and explodes in the massive either argument or just you feeling sort of way insecure or starting to question the relationships. And instead you can just let the other person know how you're truly feeling, and that's not about them. It's something that triggered you, and it's something that you are going through, but the other person has the right to know, and they can be super duper supportive and just listen and be there for you if they're a good partner and truly love you.
Love that. I'm going to tell a story that I can relate to all this. And what we're talking about is just telling your partner that you're fine when there is something you're battling internally in that moment. I'm going to bring it back to, we used to go to this really cool yoga studio, and every Wednesdays and Friday nights they did acro yoga, which is where you just kind of roll on the floor with someone and flip around, and you're touching all these areas with someone, and it's very, in a way, it's kind of like physical intimacy yoga, with your partner. Yeah, how would you describe it before I go on?
I'm trying to figure out where you're going with that, but yeah, it's a very hippie-ish like environment and community, very welcoming, very loving, like love all over the place. It has its own atmosphere and vibe, and we loved being there. Like I still love that place. Yeah, it's a great community, great way to just detach from everyone and just kind of be with your mind, with your thoughts, or with your person.
And me and Anna would partner up, obviously, and do it all the time. And there was a big open space. And I remember one time, this was early on in our relationship, probably within the first 6 months, some guy asked to come do it with you. He's like, hey, would you want to do it with me? And again, it's a very touchy, feely, grab on, like hands and feet almost touch everything. And I remember watching you guys do it, and I remember feeling triggered. I remember feeling like this super icky feeling inside of my stomach, and like my whole body would start to like radiate. And you guys did it for a few minutes, and you came back and sat down, and I was quiet. You remember that? I was so quiet. And you immediately, like, I feel like you can feel energy just seeping out of me. And you I think you said something like, hey, like, are you okay? You okay, heart? Like, you said it so sweet and so loving. And I remember saying, oh, like, I'm fine. But was I really fine?
Probably not. Yeah, I feel like I have a history of just being very sensitive and hypersensitive to energy, so I definitely...
Which is beautiful.
I can definitely feel when something's off, but sometimes it also, and that comes with a different topic, kind of differentiating your true senses and like your true intuition and your true feels of the energy of the other person, or you're just feeling insecure and then you're trying to overthink and almost project it onto the other person. But at that time I feel like it was like me just truly feeling that something was off, because you just were, yeah, you were quiet, you were just kind of different. Like the energy switch was so quick.
Yeah, because we were so happy, we were so lovely, we were having a great time for a few hours. Then some other guy came up and wanted to do it with you, and we're like, yeah, it's all good. And I was like, yeah, I was for it. And then I like saw it happening, and I was just like, oh fuck, like that feels weird inside of me. And I remember holding it in, and I think that's the point of this video. It's not the healthiest to try and hold it in, and oftentimes I think that was kind of out of my control at that moment. I hadn't worked through those feelings to the point where I have now, and I think that experience helped me grow to what our relationship is today, because that happened a few times after months of being with you, and I remember being okay with it. But to be honest, I wouldn't have been so okay with it if it wasn't for you, and being so like, your way of responding to my past trauma and being triggered was, there was so much love involved. Like, you didn't meet that with more triggering, like, negative type feelings. Like, you were really there for me. But so if there was a couple out there that may be struggling with holding it in, and they're not communicating, maybe they're going out through their day, through their week, and things are building up and they're just not communicating, and there's things that are triggering both partners, and they're not talking about it. What could be the major issue with that?
The biggest, I would say, let's go for the issue, and then like your tips.
Deal.
For a guy, and then
and then your tips for the girl. Yeah.
The biggest issue is that you guys lose pretty much the connection that you have, and not like right away, but it builds up, and the other person feels something's off, and you're not really communicating, and then both of you are off now, and the connection just fades and becomes less. Thank you for holding that. Becomes less. You just start to pull away slowly, and you're kind of becoming your own feelings, and there's a lot of things that are not said and processed on both ends, and it just creates tension. It creates unnecessary thoughts that may damage the relationship in the long run. There are some insecurities that might pop up on both ends, and it's just not a good vibe to vibe around and just be in those feelings. Like, you would rather take a hard conversation, make it through, and move on with the calmness and certainty in relationships. So what would be your tips as a guy? So like, a girl is like, well, actually no, let's do it like, you feel triggered, and or another guy feels triggered, and they're not really sure how to process that or how to let the other person know. So let's stand from a masculine standpoint. How would you let them know how to approach it?
Ooh, if I was a guy, if you're a guy out there, and you maybe can see a mirror with this video, and maybe you've had similar feelings in the past, maybe you're trying to work through it, maybe you're just like, I imagine you don't want this feeling or this pattern to continue, right? This feeling that we're talking about. I would say, as a man, I know it's very easy for us to just hold it in, and it may seem unmanly of us to want to bring up what happened, whatever event that you got triggered, and have that conversation with your lady. But if your lady is truly there for you and loves you, it's the most important thing that you can bring up and talk about as a man. I feel like as guys, we want to hold it in. We want to run away. We don't want to talk about it. Maybe we're ashamed of what our ladies may think of us. But I think the most powerful thing that we did to get over it is we just talked about it. We either talked about it soon after, or we talked about it later that night or the next day. But we didn't, as a guy, I'm very grateful for Anna, because she's someone that wants to talk about it, and she has good energy when we do talk about it. But you got to talk about it. You got to bring it up, bring it out into the light, like let the light shine on it, and just be vulnerable and talk about your feelings with your girl and what happened. And if she loves you, she'll be able to wrap your triggeredness and your whatever internal issues you're facing, internal trauma, in this just nice hug of love. And that's what you did. Like, you appreciated me wanting to talk about that with you, and it felt very good as a guy, we don't talk about our feelings. And to have someone like you, hopefully you, your partner, wants to talk about it as well, to just listen to it from a place of love and let's grow from this and I'm here from you. It was great. And we moved on. And, a trust is a big thing too. Going into this, I trusted you. So, yeah, there's a lot of aspects, but I say the main thing for a guy, before I just rant forever, is just talk about it. You need to talk about it. And there's no one, it's not your mom, it's not your friends, it's your partner. Talk about it with your partner. Talk about what you felt and tell her, hey, this is what I felt and I love you so much and I want to grow this relationship and I don't like these feelings and I want to grow from these feelings, and you got to talk about it. What do you think?
Great. That was perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So what if, let me throw it back on you. Let's flip the scenario and you're the one you're the one that gets triggered. You see me go and play and roll and do this acro yoga with a girl for 10 minutes and we're getting all touchy-feely because that's just part of the game of what you do. I'm grabbing the back of her lower back and she's flipping around and she falls on me and we're kind of hugging and twisting and like that's what it is, and you're getting triggered. What would you tell your female friends?
The first thing is, I guess, just accepting that you're feeling that. Try not to run away from the feelings that you're feeling. Like whatever comes up, just accept it yourself before bringing it up, because it's hard. It may be hard to bring up because you don't know. There's so many emotions going on. There is an anger, the shame, the jealousy, like all those things are coming up and they're all real. So accept them, and then let yourself sit with that. Like let yourself calm down before you go into a conversation being dysregulated. And I'm still learning that. You don't want to come off as very angry, sharp, because that'll just not be a great conversation. So let yourself come away from being dysregulated and just breathe. Just feel those feelings. As much as I know you probably want to go in and yell and start acting out and maybe cry. Those are great, but breathe, and then bring it up. There's probably things that you might experience, like you don't want to come off as a jealous person, partner, or you might be ashamed of what the other person will think of you, or you don't want to come off as too needy or too much or too controlling. But it's how you word it. You want to word it in the way to not blame the other person, but let them know how you're feeling, and that's your feelings. Separate those feelings. Like it's not the other person's responsibility to make you feel better, but it's your responsibility to let them know how you're feeling so you can just let it off and communicate, again, to not build the resentment. I feel like it's also common for girls to like hold it in. I feel like it's for anyone. Not speaking for everyone, but from my experience, we like to overthink. We like to play the scenarios over and over again and come up with different outcomes and kind of make conclusion based on our thoughts. But that's not the reality. Sometimes it's just by talking it, you will figure out that the situation is totally not what you thought it was. So breathe. Feel triggered, feel those emotions, breathe, and then just talk it out. Talk what you're feeling. Just name the emotions that you're feeling and point out to what triggered it. And again, come off as this is what I'm feeling. There's nothing to do with you. These are my feelings and my emotions, but this is the situation. That's how I'm feeling, and that's what I need from you in the moment. Maybe you need reassurance. Maybe you just need a hug. Just let the other person how they can help you instead of you holding it in, feeling the resentful and pulling away, finding those ways to almost like punish your partner without him knowing or her knowing what is happening. So don't let the silence destroy you and the partner.
Don't let the silence destroy you and your partner. That is beautiful. As you can tell, Anna's my therapist over here. I love this woman, and she's the smartest, most beautiful girl in the world to me. And I do think we have a very, very healthy relationship, a very emotionally healthy relationship. Are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. We still get in arguments and we still have our issues that we work through. But if any of our words can help anyone else, if any of our experience can just either help you strengthen your relationship, or maybe, give you some dialogue to what you've been feeling and are unable to talk about or say, and you resonate with what we're saying, hit that subscribe button. We would love to talk more about, how we can help you just have the best, healthiest, happiest relationship possible, because we feel it pretty much all the time, and it's the best feeling in the world. And if more people can have that feeling, I think the world will be a happy place. What do you want to say to end this, Honeybun?
I love you, and I'm very grateful to have this man who, well, you led the conversation. I love it. Yeah, if that was helpful, we're very happy. And if you have any questions or anything that may make your relationships better, we will be happy to talk about it, to bring stuff up to light that you may be afraid to talk about or not comfortable talking about. We would love to shine that spotlight on it and hopefully help you internally and eventually inside your relationships. Yay!